For my last meeting, I chaired. Oh, good, good, okay. I just want to mention the fact, and I have mentioned to the press, that I'll be leaving just after 4 o'clock, and Dave's going to take over. I've got the privilege of going down and spending some time with Bob Logan down in University of Guelph tonight at 5:30. They start their ceremonies for his induction into the honor roll for the alumni. So he asked if Sue and I could come down and be with him, with his family, and I felt obligated. Bob's done a lot of work for the town over the years and got me through agriculture, passed me through agriculture. I don't know how that happened. But anyways, we're going down to see him. So the council has given me the privilege to do that, and Deputy Mayor Turton's going to take over at that time. So, but I'm really excited because this is the start of summer. I'm giving up on spring because it's not happening. It's just not happening. So we're going to go right into summer. And Janet, did you want to say a few words about? No, okay. I can't. So we're back to the Mayor's Golf Tournament. No, wait a minute. Am I not there yet? I can't get my thing up here. Our computer is gone. So, oh, here we are. You're right. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Anderson. The previous minutes of the April 16th, 2019 council meeting and February 19th, 2019 closed session meeting be approved. All in favor? Okay, passed. Additional items? Anybody got any? Give them to Dave.
Oh, Judy does. Judy?
Okay, you got him, Dave?
Yep.
Okay. You'll be doing that part, I think. No problem. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, seconded by Deputy Mayor Turton. The town of Minto Council convenes into the committee of the whole. All in favor? How come this isn't working? Oh, here we are. We're back up.
You up?
We have two public meetings which won't be held till 5 o'clock, and so we'll come back to those. Delegations, the Mayor's Golf Tournament. Yes. And so, as I said, this is the, I feel, the start of the summer, because although if you've been out in the course, it's pretty wet. But we have the Mayor's Golf Tournament, and we were pleased to have 4 groups this year apply, and we have 4 groups we're going to go with. So that's kind of nice, because they all are very warranted to hopefully get some money from the golf tournament. I'm sure you will. And we've already had a meeting or two. So this is an opportunity for them to sort of tell you about their organization and where they're going to put the funds and get in front of the public there. So I'll start off with Joy from Hairston Preschool. Joy Murray. Okay, now you can sit or stand, Joy.
Oh, I'm not standing.
Okay, good.
Okay.
No problem.
So I'm Joy, and I'm here representing Hairston.
Annalene.
Okay. I'm Joy. I'm from Hairston Preschool. And what do? We provide morning preschool programs to our local children here. We run from 9 to 11:30 in the morning. And it's upstairs at Hairston United Church in the little nursery room. They've been very lovely about allowing us to go in and redecorate and use their space. We're licensed by the Ministry of Education, so that's always fun to jump through those hoops. And we serve local families with young children, including ones where, say, there's a parent who's staying at home. Maybe they're off on maternity leave. They don't need full-time childcare, but they would like their child to have some interaction with peers and whatnot. Other ones are one or both parents work from home, so a lot of farming families we have coming through, because again, they don't need full-time childcare, but they really would like their child to have access to some of the developmental activities you can find in a licensed program. We have working families who use home daycare providers, which was a bit surprising to me at first because the children do have care. But again, when you're caring for a group of children from infants up to preschool age, there's a wide range in abilities. So they wanted them to have more time with their peers prior to entering big schools. So. And we have a lot of grandparents also helping with care for their children. So we applied to the Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament because we'd heard from other community members that this was a good thing to get involved with. They said, you provide a community service, and the Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament's here to support organizations that provide community services. The three main reasons was, number one, to make the classroom more comfortable. We'd love to get some soft furnishings for our little cozy book nook for the kids. I'm also a librarian for Huron County Libraries part-time, so early literacy is a big thing of mine. We'd also like to provide additional learning opportunities for the children, so replace some of the worn and broken equipment that we have and to purchase some new things. And to help the preschool continue into the future. We currently have to raise approximately $6,000 a year in order to keep going. And so we spend a lot of our time trying to fundraise. So this would just be a wonderful opportunity to maybe get a little cushion to help us through for the next few years. Our goal is to run a thriving and sustainable preschool program that offers a warm, welcoming environment for local families. And hopefully by participating in the Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament, we can ensure that we improve things now and can continue into the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Joy. And up next, Minto Mental Health. And Jess is going to talk to this. Been at the mayor's breakfast. You know how passionate she is on this because she's talked to about. Is it the same speech?
Pardon me?
Is it going to be the same speech?
Relatively the same. I'll talk a little bit more about where it's going.
That's all right. That's all right. Good.
Most of you know me, but I am Jess, and I am a co-lead with Khalees on the Minto Mental Health, which has been really well received in our community. So we applied to the Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament in hopes to raise some funds so we can bring some more programming. We actually just had a really successful programming take place in Palmerston on Sunday. It was Zentangling.
Mm-hmm.
We had 22 people come out, and all of which have said, we want this back, which there's a cost to bring it back. So those we're hoping to bring these sorts of programming to our community for a very low or no cost, because we recognize if you're struggling, there are different hoops and different challenges you're facing if you're struggling with your mental health. So we don't want cost to be a barrier for you to come. So that will be one place it will go, as well as any assets that we're looking at doing. We're looking at creating our own mental health resource kits, which will have different coping strategies in them, coping cards, fidget toys for our younger children, and we're also looking at potentially doing what we're calling as community mailboxes. Still in the works of Khalees and I chatting it out with our committee members, but essentially it will be a mailbox look-like thing. We'll have a bunch of resources in the mailbox that anyone can come at any time and grab what they need to, for those who don't have access to the internet, because a lot of our kind of foundation of mental health is on the internet right now, and we want to reach out to our seniors and those other populations, as well as some training. So I had a good chat with someone from CMHA who says Safe Talks haven't been as successful in our community as we want them to be. Still thinking that there's that stigma attached to the mental health training. So we're thinking of just bringing in different trainings on recognizing mental health and being able to cope with a loved one who's struggling with mental health. What do I do to help break down those barriers? And then another one is big thing from our committee is to establish peer support networks, whatever that may look like. So if we have to get peer support networks for parents and children who are struggling with mental health and young children, there is a great resource which is called the Big Life Journal, which is all about focusing on growth mindsets, and that's a lot about mental health and having, instead of fixed mindset, growth mindset. So that's where we would go. We're looking at purchasing a 2,000 copy right that we can get that and print a bunch of books for free if we get that funding. So that's kind of where we're hoping to go with that.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you.
And next up, we have Jackie. Look at this. Like, I give all these people that are helping out in the community that are also members of our staff. It's great to see you, Jackie. And Jackie's doing Minto United Soccer Club.
I'm Jackie Heimers, and I'm here this afternoon representing Minto United Soccer Club. 2019 will be my son Brecken's 5th year playing soccer with Minto United Soccer in Palmerston. We travel from the Howick School to as far as Milverton, which is great. I've been volunteering actively with Minto United Soccer over the last year. We are very excited that Minto United Soccer Club has been chosen this year to receive some of the proceeds from the Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament. We currently have 125 players registered for 2019. With the funds, we plan on purchasing new equipment, specifically balls, equipment bags, and improved training aids. We would also like to provide training for a number of new referees. Lastly, we would like to start a program to subsidize our fees for children of low-income households. We currently have 12 players that have requested assistance with registration and uniform fees. Minto United Soccer will be sponsoring 6 of these children, and the Children's Foundation is sponsoring the other 6. That is close to $1,000 in support that we have needed for players just for this summer. We are also collecting outgrown equipment to ensure all of our players have the equipment that they need to play, like cleats and shin pads. And we greatly appreciate the support of the town of Minto and the Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament.
Thanks, Jackie. Not last but not least, U14 Palmerston Maryland's and Minto Minor Ball. Wayne Martin, and Wayne, you're a familiar face. And Wayne does a lot for our ball, and the Marlins is a great piece of our community for sure, and Minto Ball.
Yeah, we flipped last year over to girls ball basically. Yep. Anyway, with Minto Minor Ball and the Minto Optimists and our under 14 girls team has some projects that we're trying to finish from the Canadians. We have 2, and we're looking at whether our team this year is going to be skilled enough to go to Eastern Canadians, which will be in St. John's, New Brunswick. So all of a sudden money becomes an issue. The group this year, what we hope to do is we have 2 projects left from the Canadians. One is the second scoreboard. The other one is the Agriculture Society. Helped us out quite a bit. So we're going to try and do something for them finally. The other thing is the Marlin organization always supports the Isaac Foundation, specifically the Moore family in Jasper here. So we continue to be part of that. Other than that, we're running 2 tournaments this year. The boys tournament is a provincials, and it's July 20th and 21st in Palmerston. And the under 14 girls year end is August 16th to the 18th. So we always need some help. We have good sponsorship, but we always need some help for doing things. And usually it's park stuff is what we aim at.
Excellent.
Anyway, thank you, Mayor Bridge and the rest of the council for having us on board again. And as I told them in the first meeting, maybe this year I'll be able to attend it.
That's right. You always were at a ball tournament somewhere.
Yeah. All right.
Anyways, thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you to all the groups. And Janet and Tanya for organizing their side of it too. We had our meeting, and with the groups, I think we got a great group this year, and it's going to be flawless. And I think if everything goes well, we'll crack the $100,000 that the Mayor's Golf Tournament have raised for the groups over the last 9 years. It's 9th year, so appreciate all that support. Thank you very much. Now you can stay for the rest of the meeting, or you can leave. Look, they're all going.
They all leave. Good time to call.
Timing.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, public question period. Is that on right now?
Understand, isn't it? Yeah.
Public question period. Oh, welcome, Mike. I didn't see you there before. Were you there right beside? You just dropped in. Okay. All right. Correspondence. I've got one.
Public Works Week.
It's in my thing here. Page 9. Correspondence. Does anybody want to pull anything out? I have one thing I want to pull out. If you look at the, well, there's 2 actually. Proclamations. Ontario Public Works Association. It's National Public Works Week. I wondered if the council wanted to support that. Mike's not here. He's actually down at road school, so learning how to do roads, I guess. Can I have a motion?
I'll move we support that.
Mayor Turton, Jean, all in favor? Good. And the other one I just want to bring up is our senator, Mr. Black, and that's the one on, get it up here, National Health and Fitness, which is perfect for me because I'm trying to get fit and healthy. I'm having a hard time doing it. I don't know why that is. Maybe the age. But that may be another one that we'd like to bring forward if somebody could. I'll make the motion if somebody. Well, I can't make the motion. Go ahead, Jane.
I'll make the motion.
Motion, Jane. Do I have a seconder? Ron? All in favor on that one? Good. No, I don't think you guys have heard them. Do you want me to read them out, or do we?
Oh, no, please.
No, I think
good.
No, please don't.
they're two good ones, and I those are the ones that I wanted to bring out. There. Yes.
And again, I don't have any problem with these two proclamations, but I really, there seems to be a flurry of them.
Yep.
And, once we start supporting them, when do we not support them? Like, I almost feel like I just don't want to support any of them because there might be at some point some that we maybe don't want to support.
Well, I think and actually, to be honest with you, we were trying to get that report on for this one.
Yeah.
But we didn't get it on.
Yeah,
but
and I know we're working on it.
We're going to be working on it. But there's going to be ones that we're going to have a debate, and we're not probably going to support. But if we say no to them all, I guess then that's my other thing. I know. Some are pretty easy, and some are maybe more concerning.
Yeah,
so when it comes time to say no to it, we say no.
Well, but the staff is going to bring a report because Councillor Dirksen wanted a report, but they struggled with it. They went and did some research, and I think they want to have a little bit more time to get it.
Nope, that's just fine. I think it's kind of related too is flags.
Yeah, and that was going to be part of it. That's what's one of the things they were struggling with to try to come up with something.
We're going to wear out the flagpole.
Yeah.
Flying everybody else's flags if.
And on that, I remember the discussion on that a little bit was at the time. Our old flagpole was pretty hard to put anything up and down because you actually had to drop the whole pole down to put some flag on it. So, but that's why they're going to look into it a little bit more because there's a little bit more to it than the proclamation.
It's also hard to steal flags off that flagpole.
Yes.
So that's why.
That's fine. Yeah. All right. But that's a good comment. Anything else on the correspondence?
You're a mover for that?
Can I have a mover?
Yep, I'll move that we
Councillor Deputy Mayor Turton. Councillor Anderson, all in favor? Good. Okay, where are we here now, Gord? Committees. Economic Development. Linda.
So I'm going to be very brief. The majority of our meeting was about housing, and I've discussed housing for about 2 hours this morning at the county meeting. So
It was very good.
Housing talked out. We all know that it's an issue very well, and we are working on a county-wide attainable housing strategy. We're part of it. There will be engagement in our community, and as more information becomes available, I will update you on that. So basically, that was mostly what this meeting was about. Other than that, I just want to thank everyone that attended the Mayor's Breakfast series. It was very well received in Hairston and Palmerston. A little disappointed with the business turnout in Clifford. We'd like to see more engagement from that community in many different ways this summer. So hopefully that can improve. Also want to thank those that attended the Chamber Awards. It was always a nice evening to recognize our businesses. And reminder that tonight we have our Clifford Newcomers event. So if anyone's available to attend, it's a come and go from 6:30 till 8. We have about 14 groups and businesses participating and looking to welcome some of the newcomers that have come to Clifford in the last year or so. And the other thing I wanted to mention out of these was June 13th. We will be having kind of a come and go celebration for the 5th anniversary of Launch It. So the Women in Business event is from 5 to 8 that night. So if any of the women are interested in attending, we're doing a women's business tour, and it kicks off at Launch It. But we're going to be doing a homepreneur opening at 4:30. We started a homepreneur group, and we're almost up to 50 people that are running home-based businesses in Minto. So we're going to do a little ribbon cutting ceremony for them, and just a celebration of 5 years at Launch It. So we're pretty excited for that. That's all I wanted to.
Questions?
Oh, there is a correction too. Sorry, I should mention. In the minutes, it has Allison mentioning the 19th anniversary of the hospital. That's not correct. It's the 19th anniversary of the gala. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
Judy?
Yeah, just on the attainable housing. I feel like when we're looking for attainable housing for homes under 400,000,
So yes,
we're really missing the mark.
we are not missing the mark. So that's the county's thing, but we have made it very much a message to them that 400,000 is not attainable in Minto. That might be attainable in Puss Lynch, but here in Minto, 2 people working at TG Minto cannot find a house. They need to have something 300,000 max, and you go on MLS and you can't find anything.
Right.
So we have passed that message along to the county, and they're well aware of that.
Okay.
This is what came out of a description of what they were looking for out of their plan, but they're aware of it being different from the north to the south for sure.
Yeah, you probably, once you hit Center Wellington, 400 in Center Wellington might be attainable, and certainly in Bush Lynch, Chenier, and Bluff Aramasa, but north to us isn't. And we today we had we're just in the process of the county has a consultant working on some stuff, and they'll be kind of spreading it out and understanding, just getting he knows.
Sure.
It was nice to hear today that the consultant is actually from Huron County, and he knows Minto quite well. So that's good to know, because it's not a city person that will know what we have, and he knows our area. So I'm hopeful today that we got some good information, and we're just working through it. And we'll be coming out to the groups here for more to do some more feedback as to what we think as far as the council goes. There'll be opportunities for feed in, as well as I assume we'll use engaged Minto and a few other things, but certainly go out to the employers and everybody else. So we'll be calling on this council to work on that.
Another key thing that I liked what the consultant said was they're all about action. It's not a plan, it's an action, like one that sits on the shelf and here's some ideas. These are actually going to be actionable things, and they're looking at doing some pilot projects.
If we can get some pilot projects, we can maybe get involved with a pilot project if we possibly can, depending on where we're at.
Yeah, well, I think we may have to think outside the box for sure.
And it sounds like this group is doing that, so that's promising.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Bridge. I was at the Mayor's Breakfast in Palmerston, and I was so impressed with our staff and the presenting and all the things that are happening in Minto. Everybody in the room was impressed. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that come out that morning that people were really surprised that it was even happening. Same thing with the Chamber Awards. I mean, it was a great event. And Dan did a great job, and Dodie was certainly a great recipient of that award. So, I mean, it's really nice to see somebody like Dodie win that award, because I mean, she's not a business person or a past mayor or whatever. She's a mother and doing wonderful things in her community. So I'm not saying just. She's done some great things, a lot of good things. So, thank you for both of those. They were wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, we had very positive feedback from both of those mayor's breakfasts. The best ones ever, they said. So
yeah,
that's nice to hear.
Great. Thanks. I have a motion here to receive the Economic Development Planning Committee meetings of April 11th, 2019, and approve all recommendations contained in therein. I can have to make somebody make that. Jean, Judy, all in favor? Okay. And I'll turn it over to Councillor Elliott for the Parks and Rec.
Sure.
Excuse me.
And we had our Parks and Rec meeting, and Matt has the results, so we'll just bring it forward, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Elliott. So we doubled down in April. We had 2 meetings. The first was on the 1st, and the second was on the 29th. So just a couple of highlights from the first. Talked about how spring's busy with the change of seasons, and just the fact that we offer and facilitate opportunities from the Try It program for the youngsters to pickleball for some of our older adults. Tuesdays and Thursdays in Harrison started up last week, and we've also we've set up some courts at the Palmerston Curling Club. So last Monday was our first night. We had 4 people out, and last night we had 20. So
whoa, that's
words out. It's amazing just how many people play pickleball, and I say older adults, but it's for all ages, and it's great. I think our youngest participant was 14. And our oldest, I won't say, but still, it's great, and it's kind of like a low impact.
Is he around this table?
No.
Okay.
It's just great that it's something that we can offer, and it's good to be back in Palmerston too, because that's where we first started that. Something else that was on the agenda that night was just a bus parking agreement, and that's a little later on the agenda. If we hop into April 29th, we just discussed how recognition night here went fairly well on the 16th. Both teams were well represented. They both won 2 championships that warranted coming here, so super successful seasons for both of those groups. Norgan Theatre attendance and bookings are steady. We have Breakthrough this weekend, and we've actually been able to get an early show as well on Thursday. So there'll be a show Thursday at 7, and then Friday, Saturday at 8, and then Sunday at 7. So we're expecting a fairly big crowd for those showings. At the Railway Museum, tours and photos through the station. We're just looking to set up a process where people can let us know that they'd like to do those. More so from a facilities perspective with photographs outside. If we know and are aware of them, we do have a park shift Monday through Sunday. If we're aware that someone wants to take photos there, we can just have our park staff get there before they arrive and just make sure everything's looking good. So that will go through the museum email. And so if it's a tour, that can be looked after internally, and then anything that's outside, we'll just let our park staff know so they can have a run through. Any questions regarding April 1st or 29th?
Doesn't look like it, Matt. You're too thorough. I would entertain a motion to receive these minutes. Mayor Bridge, Deputy Mayor Turton. All in favor?
Awesome. Thank you.
Back to you, Mayor.
No, you're
I'm
still
still with
on. You got staff reports that under you.
Okay. Our children's program.
Yes. Yes.
Gee, I had no idea that I was having you report to me. It's hard to believe.
Oh, yeah.
Put on my other hat now and do the children's programming. It has just been awesome since I've begun in August. I hit the ground running, and it's been really, really successful in some things. So today I'm going to talk about the summer day camp that's coming up for 2019. Our new LIT training program that I've implemented. I had met with North Perth, and theirs has been very, very successful. So I thought, hey, why not kind of catch that little gap that we have for those 12, 13-year-olds who are too old for camp, but not old enough for a job at camp yet, but want to be involved still. Then we're going to talk about our PA day programs, and then once again after school. So our summer camp, day camp themes this year are Amazing Race, the Disney Week, Circus Week, Olympic Games, Barnyard Palooza, Seasons Week, Mad Science, and Desert Oasis. So we're looking forward to that. I've met with the parent council at Palmerston, and they were really excited to see the diverse of the themes, so that's kind of fun too. And then moving on to our summer day camp, kind of our staff structure. We're going to have the Palmerston site have 1 site leader and then 2 staff there each and every day, as well as Harrison mimicking that and mirroring that. And then we'll have a floater staff, so if we have over, I think it's 24 kids, we have over 24 kids in one site, we'll have to send that staff to wherever the higher registration is. Then we've actually went ahead and hired a full-time inclusion worker as well as a part-time inclusion worker. The inclusion worker will take care of those children who require a little bit more support at camp, whether that be for medical situations or that be for behavioral. So we've actually had a couple that have agreed that they'd love this opportunity, and I have meetings next week and then in the following weeks to come to meet and do the family meetings with them to see what their needs of their child are and how we can better support them to make their experience at camp the best it can be. And we hired a part-time staff for that as well, because we recognize that our staff who's in the inclusion, 1, burnout, and 2, availability. If they need some time off, I want to be able to offer this all summer. So we've actually had a situation where that 1 staff needs it off when we have a child who needs support. So we've brought in our part-time staff to support that child and have some meetings with those parents. So that will hopefully be successful, and I'm excited to see how that kind of all plays out. Now we're going to go into the LIT training. LIT stands for our Leader in Training. Essentially, we've had leaders in trainings in previous years, and some good, some not so good. And I found that even when I was a camp leader, they would come and we wouldn't really know as camp leaders or as LITs what our roles were. And there was kind of blurred lines. So now I've established a one-day training. So they're going to come and learn about conflict management, about what it's like to be a day camp leader, the roles as an LIT, the safety measures of a day camp, all different aspects of being a camp leader. And then we're going to offer them a 2-week placement at camp. So instead of them coming for all of summer, and sometimes it had been that they were coming as a child but labeled as an LIT, and it was just the payment wasn't there, and there was some things that needed to be revamped. So I met with North Perth, and really excited about the model. We have, I think it's 8 people already signed up. So it's a full day course, and then we're going to go to camp for the last couple hours to see how camp works. It's a PA day, so how camp works, and they're going to gain those skills. And I'm looking at succession. Those 12, 13-year-olds are eventually going to be 14, 15 who are going to want to maybe work in camp. So we already have them building on their skills already to hopefully make transition into a summer employment a little bit easier and a little bit more successful for them. So we're really excited. That is to be set on June 7th. We're having it at the Harrison Arena. I'll be doing that, and then going into camp. So because we have the camp at the arena that day as well. So this kind of goes over what I just talked about. And then we're going to go into our PA Day programs. This was new. That was kind of added to the list this year for children's programming, and it has been super successful. Our numbers have increased. We've done it at Palmerston and Harrison every PA Day of the school year, and numbers have increased tremendously. It's been uphill the entire time instead of going downhill. I mean, there was a couple dips there, but overall an amazing program, and I've got really good feedback from parents. Emails coming in that they're really liking the setup of how it's working. They're really liking the drop-off times. So that feedback's good, and I always have that to kind of go back to see what is working and what's not. So this is kind of our registration. So on the September one, we had 13 in 2 sites. So it was new, wasn't as good as registration, so we were kind of worried. All of a sudden, a big spike went into November. We had 37 registrants between the 2 different sites. February, it dropped down a little bit to 30. Still, I think that was 16 in one site, 14 in another. So super successful. And then our last one, we were taking a risk because there was some things going on at the Palmerston Arena that I think it was a blood donor clinic. So we're like, we need to be out. The ice is too cold. What are we going to do? So we booked a trip to Fun Villa, and it was so successful. The kids were exhausted, and I think the staff were exhausted, but it was so much fun, and it was really successful. Even looking at the registration numbers, 43 registrants. That's a good spike from all the other ones. So I see the progression in them, and I'm excited to continue. We have one on June 7th, so that's exciting as well. I think we already have 18 in one site registered just from the experiences of the last ones, and I only think that will continue to grow, and we're really excited about it too. So I didn't put in here as well, but the March break camp was really successful as well, and I know there's been questions about Clifford. This year wasn't in the plans. I was trying to get my feet, but I really want to, if the interest is there next year, maybe try Clifford for March break, because if there's enough interest in March break, then we'll have to see what would happen if Clifford has a kids club program that has a lot of kids in it, so it would be worthwhile to see what the interest is, just like it was interest based for Minto Clifford as well. So now switching to after school program, I have had so much fun. It runs every day of the school year, every operational day, averaging 8 kids a night in September. That has jumped to 11 a night. Those, I spoke a lot about this at the mayor's breakfasts, but those numbers have increased, and it's not so much new registrants. We have about 20 that have been registered, which is good between the age range that we can. Essentially, we have kids from grade 1 to grade 4. We don't have any grade 5s and 6s, but that's pretty good. And then we already have a wait list for the hopes that JKSK will pass next year and everything will go as planned with that. However, all the registrants have increased their days, so they were coming once a week. They're now coming 5 days a week, or they're now coming 4 days a week. So it's nice to see that the program, I had a really good chat with a mom who said like the integrity of the program is really, really good, and I can't wait to see it keep going. And that speaks to Mike as well. Mike's working really well, and our supply staff that comes in. So some of our summer staff like Blair and Brooklyn and Tiffany and Mackenzie. So it's good to see that they're seeing the consistency of the programs, which is really, really nice. So we do a variety of things. A lot of the staff will see me walking up with bins because there's different things every day that I want to bring. So we make slime. We do a bunch of different things that I think is making it more of a program than child care. Recreation programming. So we do sports activities. We do science activities. Just a good variety. And I think that's touching on the interests of all the registrants and all the participants, because that's how we're going to keep them interested. And the kids tell me what they're enjoying, and that's who we're essentially serving as our kids and their parents. So we want to make sure we're doing things that they are interested in and they're enjoying. So our hopes for next year is we've applied and bringing back the after school program to Palmerston and expanding to Minto Clifford. So Matt will talk a little bit more about the logistics of that, but that's our hopes, and we're really excited about it. So is there any questions about children's programs?
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
I am really interested in the fact that you're getting somebody in for behavioral kids. It's very difficult for a young summer staff to be able to deal with that all the time. Have somebody trained and be able to deal with that, because you've had some problems in the past.
Yeah, for sure. And that's I think that's where I hope it's going to be good with me here too, because I'm going to be available all the time for them, and I'm removed in camp, so I'm going to be that support person for them, because I can recognize and understand the challenges they'll face in the summer as well. So being sure that we have that background and that education.
Yeah, it'd be important to get over that so that the behavioral student could enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes those behaviors stem from different areas, and if we help support them, that might be their best time of the summer, is when they are feeling supported in a camp that they haven't been able to attend before. So I'm excited to report back and tell you how that went, because I hope and see it being successful.
I'd ask for support to or motion to receive and support. Work. All in favor?
Who'd you get second? Who was your first and second?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Councillor Gunson and Deputy Mayor Turton.
I'm drinking this afternoon.
You're still up there.
Yes.
Working you hard today, Ron.
I know. I can't believe this.
Matt Lubers.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Elliott. So just to continue with what Jess has started, this agreement this report looks a lot like the one that we looked at last year for Palmerston Public. This one's for Minto Clifford. So we've been approved to offer a program currently for grades 1 to 6. What we'll have to do is, once the JKSK goes through, we'll have to probably bring a revised agreement to you. But for the sake of letting the school board know we're interested in Minto Clifford, this is why this report's here now, and the bylaws attached at the end. Yeah, so like I said, similar to the last year's agreement, we're approved to go into Minto Clifford to offer after-school programming. Despite some of these changes, as an authorized rec program, we're still only permitted to do after-school care, and it can't exceed 3 hours. So I believe the end-of-school bell at Minto Clifford this fall is going to be 3:10 till 6 o'clock, so we're covered in that regard. We're hoping with JKSK being added that we'll exceed the 15 kids per day, because as soon as you get to that 16th child, it triggers that second staff. In Palmerston, we had to have that one there anyway, just because of the you had to have 2 adults on the premises. So what we're looking at, and through the rates and fees charges that we talked about last month, we're looking at $10 a day or $45 a week for the fall. And as part of the 2019 budget deliberations, we're hoping for about 20 kids per day, and we should be able to achieve our budget. So any questions regarding Minto Clifford?
You break even with the amount of kids that, how do we do? We run a deficit or?
Yeah, so for Palmerston right now, we are running a deficit just with the registration numbers where they're at. We're hoping with the JKSK that with more kids attending that we'll get a lot closer to break even. It certainly wasn't our intent when we pursued this to break even. Again, it was one of those services I think we identified that was lacking in this area, and we really didn't see anyone else that was going to be able to step up and do something. And then on top of that, with just how popular the summer day camp's been the last number of years, the structure that we had in place, I just didn't think it'd be sustainable. So it's nice having Jess here now, and it's great to see some of the changes and things we're going to be able to offer to just improve the quality of our summer camp programming. So we'll have to wait and see at the end of this year how everything went from September to December, as well as this summer, and we'll look at that regarding the 2020 budget.
As always, our town are providing a service for our community. I think that's more important than the bottom dollar all the time.
And certainly even with the PA Day programming, to go from 7 kids and 6 kids, so 13 in September to 43 in April here. We've got a lot of interest for this summer already, and even for the after-school program this fall, we've seen a lot of interest come in. And again, what we're finding is the bulk of the kids are grades 1 to 3. Even though we can go to grade 6, I think we've got one grade 4, and the rest are grades 1 to 3. So with that JKSK addition, I think we're going to see a big surge.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, I'll read the recommendation. Council receives the May 1st, 2019 report from the Recreation Service Manager entitled After School Program Agreement and considers a bylaw in open session authoring the mayor and acting clerk to sign the agreement. Mover and seconder. Councilor Dirksen, Councilor Anderson. All in favor?
No.
Matt, are you still up?
Yeah, one more for you, Councilor Elliott.
It's always exciting, Matt.
Yeah, riveting stuff. So this is an agreement before you today that it's something that Services Manager Al Carr and I have been working on with representatives from Cooks. Essentially, for this fall, they're looking for a spot to park 4 buses over the course of a school year. And then in the winter months, they're going to need an area that has access to hydro so they can just make sure the buses will start in the morning so they can get the kids to school okay. The area that the facilities manager and the Cooks rep eyed up was a spot near the Harrison Ball Diamond. So just down the third baseline, there is a pole there with hydro access. It'd be something that probably wouldn't work in September and June when we've got baseball, but that would probably be the months where the hydro service isn't necessary. Just driving by there today with the realignment of the lines in the Harrison parking lot, it would be a little bit tight. We don't have any dedicated parking spots over there, but this is just something that, yeah. So essentially somewhere in that area, but knowing where that red is where the hydro service is. So in the winter months, it'd be closer to the arena than the diamond backstop.
Yeah. So the only thing I think Al and yourself have contacted Cooks if there's any event that we're having, they wouldn't be parking their buses there. Is that correct?
Yeah.
They would move them if we need the parking spots.
Yeah. So for any major event, if we've got a big tournament on the weekend, and we do have some big weekday rentals also, they wouldn't be permitted to park there. They'd have to find somewhere else. That might be one of those days where they've got to take the buses all the way back to Mount Forest to the depot there. Essentially, this is for some of the drivers that reside in Harrison. It just would save them having to go to Mount Forest to pick up their bus each day in the morning and in the afternoon. And in lieu of or in consideration for this, they would put some money towards some skating and shinny sponsorship at the facilities. It's something that we've been able to offer free of charge to our residents in both Palmerston, Harrison, and Clifford. It there are quite a few sessions, and we've got some other sponsorship opportunities that we want to pursue with our local businesses. So this would help us to sustain some of those free offerings and not have to put the money jar out. So we just figured if it was on rec property, it might be nice to put that back into the facility.
Councillor McKenzie, you have a question?
Thanks, Councillor Ron. Do we have to upgrade the hydro panels for these buses?
Through Councillor Elliott, I believe what's there would be sufficient. That there's adequate what do you call them, outlets on that light pole there by the canteen.
Okay.
So there wouldn't be any capital work required. The block heaters would use a bit of hydro, but we're thinking it wouldn't be all that much.
And winter maintenance, have you estimated the costs there? Because like they're offering $2,000. That wouldn't pay for the equipment rent usage all winter, you know. On my thinking of it, but and then the other question I had was, it says 9 a.m. They got to be. I don't know any buses that operate at 9. They got to be on the road at least at 7 to pick kids up. So that means our staff's going to have that cleared for them and ready to go by at least 7 a.m. Does that make sense, or am I off base here?
No, it certainly makes sense, and I wasn't part of the discussions that the facilities manager had with our public works staff, because it is public works now that clear our like all of our arena parking lots. So essentially, and this is something we typically provide our public works staff with in the fall each year, is just our like in terms of when our first rentals are. It does usually get cleared fairly early in the morning, just because we have we typically have rentals as early as 8 o'clock, sometimes earlier on the weekend if it's a big tournament. So it'd just be a matter of making sure that things are cleared. I don't know if it would cause us to be there any earlier, because I know typically the arenas are fairly high on the priority for snow removal.
Buses do have an early start, and I'm just thinking our staff might be overtime for them on days that so they could have access for their. They didn't really say in the agreement when they said 9 a.m., but that doesn't make sense to me. School started then.
Yeah, certainly it wasn't the intent that this would cause any of our staff to have to work any overtime hours.
Yeah.
That certainly wasn't the intent.
I would think if there's that much snow that the bus can't go through it to get out of the parking lot, then there's probably no buses running. So most, I mean, they'd be able to whip through most snow. And if it's that huge that it fills the parking lot, I would think it wouldn't be going anywhere. Obviously, it wouldn't be going.
Sure.
Elliot,
it's likely there might be some growing pains here, but I mean I think it's a good initiative on the PRAC to utilize some of our open space, and I mean if there's growing pains, we'll work through them. So I commend you on this.
Yeah, it's something that our services manager, I think he was approached by Cooks, and we're talking 4 buses, and certainly just the impression that I've got is that they're willing to be flexible too and work with us. We do know that the engine starting in the morning will be a priority, so hence the need for that hydro access.
Mayor Bridge.
Could you put the picture up again? Okay. I am a little concerned, and I spent quite a bit of time last winter because my grandson was playing hockey and we were there a lot. That when snow gets in there, and I mean up by the curling club, the snow gets along that back wall, and there's not a lot of parking there. And if you had a curling event, the Bonspiel, and you had a hockey event, I'm a little concerned that maybe that area there will be a little bit of a problem. But I think I agree with Deputy Mayor Turton. It's a learning curve here. My concern would be that in the agreement, it's a 3-year agreement, and I would like to maybe add the fact that maybe we do a 3-year agreement, but with a 1-year review after the first year, because my concern would be if we do run into major problems, or if the person doesn't cooperate like they say they're going to, at least we have an option to get out of this agreement, because I think there's going to be maybe some issues, and we'll have to come up with how it's going to go. My other concern is, I know there's no ball tournaments, but those buses are in great danger come ball season. Don't be during the tournaments, because they'll be gone by then, because we don't have tournaments that early, but certainly in May and June. I've gone into the curling club there, and when you have early spring, the guys are pounding them out of the park there and hitting. The point was, don't park your car over there, because where's the complicated? Are we going to be liable for any of that damage or whatever? So, and I didn't read the agreement to the nth degree, but I assume we're not. But certainly, Councilor McKenzie has a good point on when the buses need to get out of there. So there's a couple things that maybe you could work on, but I would definitely want to at least have an out clause in the agreement, a 3-year agreement. And maybe we find out that it's not worthwhile if we have extra issues, that $2,000 isn't enough, Ron. I don't know. But I would like to maybe enter into that if we do a option out after a year.
Maybe we could take these comments, defer this back to our next council meeting so that we could address these issues.
Well, that would be. I would have no problem with that either, because
we should probably have an out for both.
Yeah.
Either Cooks or us.
We can definitely defer this. We can bring it back to PRAC on the 27th, and then have it here for the beginning of June. This is for September, so there is no rush. We don't have to decide today. So
yeah, and that, because there's a couple of issues that I would be
certainly heard a couple of concerns that we would want to iron out in the agreement before we.
I'd make that motion that we defer it.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Seconder, Deputy Mayor.
Yep.
All in favor? We defer it. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks.
What do we got next? We're back. What do we got up?
Now you're back.
Oh, building. I'll do the building, and then I'll let you take on. Then the roads go to Judy.
Yep.
So, have we got building stats?
We do.
Michelle's doing those. She gets to do a fun thing for a change, eh, Michelle? Not that your other stuff isn't fun.
It's all fun.
Exactly.
Just say yes. I got to see these peak preview because we had these numbers for the last Hairston.
You did. You
Yes.
had them up until the end of March,
Yep.
but
And so these
now
are
you
great
get
numbers.
April as well.
But I'll let you give them to the council.
So hopefully we'll dazzle you. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Now we will.
Well, Terry's very sad not to be here because he loves this, and I know that he's your numbers man. I am not your numbers man. But, so, due to construction activity, the permits were slightly down, but only by one from the previous year. But one is not so bad, and when you get to look at our year to date, I think our numbers are still very impressive. So we went from 2.9 million construction value versus the 19 permits in 2018, the 5.6. But have no fear, because if you flip over to April activity, it definitely increased. We have an additional 31 permits that were issued, resulting in 5.6 million construction value versus where last year goes down to 2.3 million in 2018. So we're definitely moving along, and I can tell you that the office is very, very busy. Momentum is not slowing down. So our year to date, we have 66 permits, as I said, and the outlook for development and construction remains very strong. So some of our highlights include we have 18 new residential units, which results in 12 single-family dwellings and 3 semis. So for the semis, we have 1 in Palmerston and 2 in Hairston, and the rest of our single-family dwellings are 4 are in Palmerston, 2 in Hairston, 1 in Clifford, and 5 are rural. Minto. We also have 5 commercial renovation permits that are helping to rejuvenate the Palmerston and Hairston downtown core. And the picture that you see there is of Quality Homes Development, and April 30th is when we had our first unit occupancy issue. And some of you after the mayor's breakfast had the opportunity to go to the open house, which should be taking place this Saturday. So our 10-year average is 49 permits, and like I said, we are pushing that at 66. And the picture there, of course, is the phase 1 of Right Haven, of which only 6 lots are remaining to be sold in
should be moving on to phase 2. So it is really taken off. And our 10-year construction value, we've more than doubled where we're at now versus our 10-year average of the 6.8 million. Now, Terry was really excited about this picture, which apparently I had to ask what it was. But if you look really closely down at that corner, is the installation of a new septic system. So if anybody has questions
That's pretty
about
wow.
that, he would be very excited.
That's exciting.
Me, not so much. But if you have any other questions, I'd
See,
be happy to
That's right.
Just, I'm not sure whether I should be asking this question, but I'm going to anyway. I keep getting calls and keep meeting people, and they ask me about the two businesses at the edge of at Palmerston across from the food land there, the bar and the coffee shop. Is there
They
any?
are not ready.
They're
In fact, we'll not be able to speak a little bit better to that for you. But
Yeah.
no, we have not.
there's
they are
no
not ready.
no building permits and everything.
Oh, they're all in
satisfied?
place, and we're still doing inspections, but it's not fine.
No.
There you are.
There you
Got
go.
it now.
Okay. So I can speak to Coffee Cafe. Nicola and Jennifer, they are living here. They are advertising to hire somebody. I know they have a health or like a food inspection on Friday. So they are progressing. We are working on a patio agreement. So that one will be opening. At this point, I don't think there is someone to run the Bombay Hub. So that one, I can't give you any more details, but I know
Other than
Coffee Cafe is in the
physically,
process.
they're available. They could walk into them. They're ready to be.
They're
open.
not, they haven't been given occupancy yet, no.
We have not finalized them.
No.
Finalized. Okay. So is there a date from the cafe?
No.
They're hoping to have a date.
Yes, they're definitely hoping.
Sorry, Ron, they're hoping.
That's all I got to be able to tell people that it's coming, and I've
Well-
been doing that for a year now. So I'm just.
I know.
It looks everything looks great. It looks like it's done. It looks like it's ready to go. And
Yeah. So now we're just getting the people to run them now. There's been delays and.
thank you for bringing that to me. I didn't know whether I should be asking that question or not.
No, that's a good question. It actually was asked at the Palmerston one, I think.
Yeah.
So, or wasn't, or somebody asked me anyway. Yeah. I will take my leave. Oh, motion. Can I have a motion? Mark and Jeff, all in favor? Thank you. Turn it over, Davey.
Thank you, Mayor. Have fun and wish our friend Mr. Logan all our best.
Yes, do that.
We'll pass the chair to our Councillor Dirksen, Chair of Public Works.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Turton. And as you heard, our Roads and Drainage Manager, Mike, and some of the other staff are at the road school in Guelph this week. So we have 5 items on the agenda. 4 of them are tenders, so we're going to have our acting CIO, Chris Hero, is going to take us through them. So first, there's a tender result for the purchase of a tractor.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, I will do my best to pick that. Mike educated me, and I have been in on the meetings with them, so we encourage them not to skip school, so I will do this. The first one has been brought to you 2 or 3 times. First in our master truck plan that we have for replacing the vehicles. Second, we brought it to you when the budget came, and now thirdly, this is the tender that's out. So this is the one that they put out for tender to replace, instead of buying a tandem axle or this is a single axle plow truck to do the urban areas, the Hairston, Clifford, Palmerston urban areas. They would like to purchase a tractor that is specifically set up for plowing in an urban area. They have done their due diligence. They've talked to all the staff. They went to Meaford and saw this unit in action, and they are very impressed and think that this could really enhance our ability to move snow in the urban areas. So there was 2 bids received, and they decided to go with the Roberts Farm Equipment for the price that you see there. And as we said before, it does give us a lot of options in the future that if we have to do summer stuff or anything like that, there's lots of attachments that we can rent, lease, buy, whatever we need to do with these tractors, compared to the plow trucks that tend to just to be idle during the summer months. So this is what the staff have asked for, and that's what they would like.
Okay, are there any questions? All right, I'll read the recommendation. The council receives the report from the Roads and Drainage Manager dated May 1st, 2019 regarding tender number 2019-01, tractor specification for pricing, and approves the awarding to Roberts Farm Equipment for the purchase of the proposed tendered unit and options for a combined total of $289,900 plus HST. Is there a mover? Councillor Elliott and Deputy Mayor Turton. Okay, all in favor? And thank you, that carries.
The next one is just our annual awarding of the supply and apply the dust suppressants for the rural roads and that. This is one we do every year. The bids went out, and same supplier as last year with a minimal increase, which they said they expected due to costs and everything else going up. So they are asking to award this one to delete dust control, same as last year.
Okay, are there any questions? I'll read the recommendation that council receives the report from the Road and Drainage Manager dated April 30th, 2019 regarding tender number 2019-02, supply and apply of dust suppressant, and approves the awarding to Daily Dust Control at the price of $348.20 per flake ton of calcium chloride plus HST. Is there a mover? Councillor Gunston, and a seconder, Councillor Anderson, all in favor? Thank you, that carries. And third.
The third one, which is again, same one every year. This is just the maintenance gravel for our roads. And we had one bid come in from Dennison Contracting, which is the same one as we had last year, and a good local company that we've worked with many, many times. That we have no problems with. So.
Okay, are there any questions on this one?
Are there any concerns that no one else is bidding on, like we have one bidder?
No, I don't think so. No, because it's a local company that we work with, and because it's such a small amount of gravel, we're not hauling large loads of gravel. I believe with the construction projects and that going on, the bigger ones are focusing on them, and this is such a small one that it's not worth their while to.
Works out well for a local.
And we're happy that it's a local company that we work very well with.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anyone else with a question? Okay, I'll read the recommendation that council receives the report from the Roads and Drainage Manager dated April 30th, 2019 regarding tender number 2019-03, supply, load, haul, and spread granular A, and approves the awarding to E. Dennison Contracting Limited at the unit price of $7.98 per ton plus HST. I'll look for a mover. Deputy Mayor Turton, and seconded by Councillor Gunson. All in favor? Okay, that carries as well.
And the last tender is again our annual sidewalk replacement program. The same as last year with a small increase is Reeves Construction, which did the work last year, and our staff was very happy with what they did. And just a reminder that there is a sidewalk replacement plan that they've brought to you, I believe, last year, and reviewed all the sidewalks in the town, and they've come up with kind of a master plan on where they're going to focus their efforts on and where they want to put them. It's very hard for us to replace every single sidewalk in the municipality or have sidewalks on every single street. So they're focusing on our main routes and our main foot traffic for schools and just to continue to make sure our communities are walkable, but that we do this in a proper way to make sure that we're getting them upgraded in the right spots.
Okay. Are there any sidewalk questions?
Judy, in Palmerston there, that they have to remove those trees for that Bolton Street sidewalk? It's getting pretty pinched in there for hedges and trees.
Yeah, that's a hedge there, and those look at poles. So they probably, if it's on our property, they will have to look at that as part of our tree program. But I honestly can't answer that one. But I know if it's on our property, they will cut them back because they are with the I think it's 5 foot width sidewalks to make sure. Yeah, that's our new standard. That's the new standard across the province, is to have wider sidewalks, which I will say, the walking that my wife makes me do are much nicer. So
you can walk beside her now.
Yes, much to her
10
disdain.
feet behind.
Councillor Elliott.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether Mike's got this in his plan or not. I know there's different spots in, at least in Palmerston, I'm sure in Harrison too, where there's a lot of walkers and stuff that the sidewalk is sagged.
Yeah.
And rains and then freezes. It's just like an ice pack. We're asking for problems with, and it happens that fast. And we can't salt those. Is there any plan to do any maintenance of lifting those sidewalks or doing something until we can get around to putting new ones in? Or
As part of our plan, I know that they have to do a sidewalk inspection every year, and they identify with orange spray paint all of the lips and that need to be shaved down, or tree roots that have lifted sidewalks or dropped them or stuff like that. So I'm not sure which of the staff has to go and walk them all, but they do an inspection and make sure that problems like that are identified and repaired. So they might just do a single block, like a section, instead of doing the whole block.
2 or 3 feet or 10 feet or 15 feet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they do have to do, as per our policy, a sidewalk inspection for that.
So would that part be 5 foot too, or we just maintain it?
I think they maintain it as is till they do the whole replacement, because it would to extend it back out and then back in.
Right.
I believe so.
So that's something that shouldn't cost a lot. Just lift it and fill underneath.
No, they have budgeted money in their operating budget for that, for sidewalk repairs and replacements. So it's all in our budget that they anticipate certain areas that have to be repaired.
I'm sure you skated over it.
Yep. Yep. But this weather that we're having nowadays, you never know. That freezing rain that we have consistently in this wintertime now, you can have the most perfect sidewalks, and 10 minutes later they're iced up because of the freezing rain.
Absolutely.
It's just so unfortunate that way.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'll read the recommendation. That council receives the report from the roads foreman dated April 30th, 2019 regarding tender number 2019-04 to remove, dispose, replace sidewalk, and approves the awarding to Reeves Construction Limited at the price of $93.90 per meter squared plus HST. The mover, please. Sir Elliott and Councillor Gunston. All in favor? And thank you. That carries.
And then finally, the Green Legacy Days. This is just to advise you that of the Legacy Days are being held this Saturday from 8 till 10 a.m. And staff is requesting that if you have time, we would really appreciate if council could be here to help hand out the trees. Annalene mentioned that they line up at about 7:30. We do not open the doors until exactly 8 o'clock. And if it's nice weather, they will probably be all gone by 9:30 because we have such success with it. So we want, hopefully, as many of you as possible to be there to help staff hand out the trees, because it is a very successful day and a very busy day in that morning. So if you can, could you please, after the meeting, let Annalene know that you'll be there on Saturday morning so that she can position everybody for those days, because she's looked after getting this all together and getting it done. And I believe there was no trees left from the sale part of it, so all the trees that we had for sale are gone.
Okay,
so
good. Yeah, we've always had very successful Green Legacy Days here for sure. So I'll read the recommendation. The council receives the Public Works April 29th, 2019 report regarding Minto Green Legacy Days to be held May 11th, 2019 from 8 till 10 a.m. Mover for that one. Kenzie, Anderson, all in favor. And thank you. That carries. Okay, and I'll turn the chair back to Deputy Mayor Turton.
Thank you very much. We have a celebration going on in Clifford. I'll ask Deputy Clerk Annalene to talk about the temporary road closure.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. So on June 8th, there's going to be a Clifford Street celebration. I know Economic Development has been busy planning that. This is just to close some of the roads in order to have the celebrations. One will be a cruise-in area, and the other there will be a street dance as well as other things. So the recommendation is that council receives my report and considers a bylaw in open session closing these streets.
Can we have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Bergson, Councillor Anderson. Sorry, any questions on this? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? Against? That's carried. Thank you. Moving right along, we'll move right into the second part of
Thank
this.
you. This is about the special events policy and the blanket bylaw. So in order to have these roads closed for any special events, a bylaw does need to come forward to council. There are a lot of special events that are yearly events, and in order to help them out and help council out, we have a blanket bylaw that we pass usually for a 4-year term, allowing those roads to be closed during that time. We've also updated the policy in regards to this. We did it before in 2015, and this is kind of a renewal of it. All the groups have been contacted, and the ones that are on there wish to continue with their special events.
Questions? So the motion is that the Council of the Town of Minto receives the April 29th, 2019 special events permit policy and blanket road closure bylaw report from the Deputy Clerk and accepts the updated special events permit policy and further considers the bylaw in open session. Can we have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor McKenzie, Councillor Gunson, all in favor of that motion? That's carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll ask our acting CAO to come back over and talk about the provincial modernization grant.
Okay, I'll stand this time just to throw you off. As you know, back about 6 weeks ago, we got a grant called the Provincial Modernization Grant. And I'm sure you read about it in the paper because this report has been to every other council in the county of Wellington, which we have the luxury of going last because we know how everyone else decided. So, but when we got this grant, the CAOs in the county started to meet, and from what I gather, it's one of the first times that the CAOs have worked collaboratively this way to discuss something like this, which is good. The Provincial Modernization Grant was given to us, no strings attached, no issues with what we could do with it. It was just, here's your money, you could do with it. But, in capital letters, in the actual grant verbiage, it stated that they would really appreciate or would encourage municipalities to use this money to look for efficiencies, shared services, or things that they can do better internally and externally with other people, like with other municipalities. So as CAOs, we took this and looked at it, and we had a lot of discussion, a couple of good long meetings, and the recommendation that came forward with that report was that we should probably take this money and earmark it for looking specifically for that, for efficiencies, for things that we can maybe work together on that would benefit all of us and hopefully save us some money. So one of the first things that we've talked about is the county and the 7 municipalities would like to hire a consultant to start looking at what are the efficiencies that we as the municipalities and the county can do together that we can, as we call it, low-hanging fruit, that we can pluck off and maybe do some things quickly together and realize an efficiency and save us some money. So the report states in there that, and I believe every other municipality, including the county, have voted to do this, is to put $25,000 of this money towards the consultant. The county would match that money and makes them $175,000 towards it, giving us that lump of money to go out and hire a consulting firm to look at the services that we direct them towards. Us as CAOs would sit down and be the guiding one for the consultant to guide them towards different departments and get them in touch with the people they need to talk to come up with their decisions. And then there would be joint council meetings from all the councils in the county to be able to sit down and listen to the consultant once they have their findings and be able to educate you on that. And with that, the rest of the money would then be placed into reserves to stay in reserves until we come up with some ideas on what we can do and use that money to spend towards getting some more efficiencies and collaborate some more with the municipalities. So I believe our grant was just over $590,000. So this would just take 25,000 of it, and then the rest of it, as the report recommends, we would take that rest of that money and put it into reserves to be earmarked for future projects that may come out of the study. So,
questions? Councillor Dirksen.
So on the surface, I think this is a really good idea. I was a little concerned when when we first found out we received the money, because it didn't sound like there was any strings attached and so on. But I think this is a responsible way to use that money. I guess the only thing I would I guess my only concern is a consultant is a consultant, and so if they have a bent this way, then that may be the suggestion, right? Like, I would hope for that kind of money, because that's a fair bit of money when you put it all together.
Yep.
For any consultant. I hope that they come up with like a lot of ideas. Some that are really easy, low hanging fruit,
Yep.
and some that are pie in the sky, might never manage it ideas as well. You know what I mean?
Correct. And yet we, like as CEOs, we're going to give them carte blanche. So we want them to look at all the services. The only ones, as the report says, that we're not asking to look at are the ones that we already do together as a county, like waste management services, social house services, that type of stuff that we're already doing collectively. Anything outside of that is what we're doing. And actually, CEOs, our original report had a lot more money going towards a consultant, because we wanted to give them the time and the ability to be able to look at everything. You know, we started a list, and we had a list. I think I stopped writing at about 30 different services that we wanted them to look at. And so for them to look at that many services is going to cost some money, but we agree with you. You know, we want them to look at everything, give us a list that maybe we could look at. And you know, as CEOs, we're even looking at, say, for 2020, that if we do get some grant or funding cuts, what are some low-hanging fruit, to lack of a better term, that we can use to say this is how we can save some money in 2020 with some of these easier ones. And then, you know, what are the other ones that it might take us 3 or 4 years to get at, to do that. So yeah, so it's going to be all of them.
And would they also look at things like, for instance, like I feel like the 3 northern municipalities have maybe more in common than we do with, say, Puslich, right?
Yep.
Like, would they look at maybe the 3 northern municipalities trying to pull something together too, or?
Absolutely, yeah. Everything's on the table.
We are already doing some of that. So
yeah. And all that's on the table. Like, when they come back with their recommendations, it's going to be up to us as staff then to say, this is what we're going to go with, and we'll look at it. And I'll take one that obviously I know a little bit about, is fire services. You know, is it a fire service to have a shared management service? So, you know, one fire chief and a couple deputies, but the fire departments are in the same, like distinct, but one management service run 3 different departments. So there would be a north end. So one fire chief would run Minto, Wellington North, and Mapleton, and then one in the south would be another one. Is that, you know, I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but just as you said, is that easier to do that, or is it easier to have a combined Wellington Fire Service, or is it easy to have one fire chief look after 7 different fire departments? That's just one that they might come together and say, here's where you can realize some cost efficiencies. We expect you guys should look at this, and then you as council might direct us as staff to say, okay, sit down with the other fire chiefs and look at that. And again, this is just a hypothetical situation.
Sure. Yep.
So that's what we expect them to do, to say, here's some, we know from previous municipalities, this is where you can save some money. Another example I'll give you is Mike McIsaac, our roads director, has said, like, there's so many roads that we go to a stop sign, we have to stop, right? So is there efficiencies that they could look at, that if you could carry on and do some more roads instead of stopping at that stop sign, carry on and complete the rest of them? Is there efficiencies to be had there? We don't know the answer, but this is what we might be able to look into with some of their help. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Councillor Elliott.
Similar to the question about 3 northern groups, I believe each, not just 3 northern, I believe each community is different. They've got their own, like, we're ahead of the curve in a lot of things that we do. I'm proud to admit that.
Mm-hmm.
So if they come up and there's a weakness throughout 6 other communities in Wellington County, we don't meet that weakness. So, and will they make that recommendation for all of us, or how will they individually point to Minto and say, you know what, you're strong in most of these areas, you need to put your money towards this? How will they do that?
That's yet to be seen. Like, you'll have the ability to look at the report and all that stuff. What I've talked to staff about and what's the opportunity is going to be is, there is, and we know as a municipality we're ahead of the curve in a lot of things. I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
They might look to us and say, "Can you pioneer or champion this area? So you're very strong in public works. So can you take and you then can help drive it in other municipalities and work towards that?" They might say that, or whatever else. That we might be the champion of that area to work together with the other municipalities and kind of drive that one. That's what I think too. There's the opportunity that they're going to look to us for different areas like that to do. So there's going to be many opportunities. Some of the ones I anticipate, IT services is an easy one. Is there a way that we could all do IT services together? We all use computers. We all use the same software. Is there a way to get that all on board and all do that? That's an easy one that might cost a little bit of money up front, but can really be streamlined across the county. Right. That we're not all using different areas. The efficiency there is like hospitals. You put them together. You all use the same language. You all use the same stuff and go forward. That's maybe an easier one.
As paramedics and firefighters too.
Yeah, exactly. Legal services. Is there a way to look at that? All those type of things that we all use. Is there ways to do that more efficient and have the ability maybe to even offer some in-house stuff like that?
That's that answers my question. Thanks.
Yep, no problem.
Other questions? I think it's kind of unique that all 8, 7, and 1 are going to work together on this, and having an outsider help us with it. I think having an extra outside eye might be really good, but it's almost like regional government, and we likely should be careful what we wish for. But
imagine Gordon want the money all to himself.
So other questions? Hearing none, that the motion is that the Council of the Town of Minto approves the report entitled Provincial Modernization Grant, that the county CAO and the member municipal CAOs engage a consultant for the preparation of a municipal service review as outlined above, that the CAOs report progress to their respective councils as they deem appropriate and as requested by their respective councils, that the 2 joint meetings of the Council of Wellington be held in Centre Wellington's Fergus Recreational Facility, and that the County of Wellington act as the treasurer for the project. Mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Elliott. Thank you, Councillor Gunson. All in favor of this motion? Against? That's carried. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks.
So we'll move along to our treasurer.
Finance.
Treasurer, tax collector. I don't see Mrs. Klemp here, but we see Gord Duff. So go ahead, Gord. Give it to us.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So this is just a report on the tax rating bylaw that's coming up later in the meeting. Not quite as straightforward this year because we have some new assessment classes, and there were some other changes to how we treat some existing assessment classes. I guess the biggest thing is we now have a small farm business classification, and so it's for a commercial or industrial use on a farm. And MPAC has determined these properties that are eligible. It's a lot of work for not too much because there's only 6 properties in the whole county right now. They're not on our return roll, so they're not reflected on the tax rating because I'm legally obligated to go with the roll that we received in December, but we know they will be supplemental, so we had to strike the tax rates and everything for them. So 3 Minto, we have that. And also, kind of talk about the municipalities working together. The county, and supported by the lower tiers, as you may remember, we passed a resolution to support the elimination of vacant land and excess land for commercial and industrial properties. So that has a small dollar value, but an effect basically on every assessment class that isn't the vacant and excess land. So when we passed our budget just about a month ago and we estimated the taxes, that adjusted it a bit, and also the education rates were very late in coming this year. I think they've not even a month ago. And normally we get them in November and December. So our county tax people had estimated based on previous year's history, but actually it dropped even more. We were thinking a 4% drop and it's been about a 5% drop. So bottom line, our typical house, although as Belinda says, maybe not so typical, valued at $233,000. The overall, blended increase is now 2.47%. Local is 3.9. So it's not a huge change, but it's made a little bit of a decrease based on that. And these figures are the ones that are reflected in the bylaw.
Questions for our treasurer? Thank you, Gordon. Hearing none, then, that the Council of the Town of Minto receive the May 1st, 2019 report from the treasurer and the tax collector regarding the final tax bylaw and consider passing bylaw 2019-46 in open session. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Anderson, Councillor Dirksen. Thank you very much. All in favor of this motion? Against? That's carried. Gordon, can we move right along to the approval of the accounts?
Yeah, so just the way the calendar went, we didn't have any approval of accounts at the last meeting, so we have two for this one. The first one is the April 12th one for $676,000. Some highlights are we paid the Maitland Valley levy, just around $101,000. We got some extrication equipment for the fire department, and this is an interesting one because the gross cost is $88,000, but through fundraising and donations, they've been able to raise $75,000, so the net cost will just be $13,000. And we're still buying salt, another $11,000 came through, and I guess we're preparing for next winter because we've bought some replacement snowplow blades for $19,000 next time. And we're spending a fair bit on engineering for the projects that are coming up. They're still completing the modeling, which will again assist us with gravity feeds. And our public works people were just saying this week we now have the William Street Loop project started, the Harrison George Street North, and the Clifford Ann Street. So they're all on the go, and there's some engineering for that. So anyway, so that's the highlights from that one. The next one is $531,000, but $291,000 of that is our annual insurance bill. And we've also got some more small equipment, mostly hose related, and that for the fire department at just under 20. And so we had salt on the other one. We've got sand on this one for $17,000. So those are the main issues on that one. Questions?
Questions on these 2 weeks' accounts? Hearing none. The recommendation is that the Council of the Town of Minto receives the Treasurer's report dated April 12th and the 29th, 2019, regarding approval of accounts, and approves the Town of Minto accounts by department for March and April 2019. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Gunson, Councillor McKenzie, all in favor of that? Against? That's carried. Thank you. So we'll move into other business. Disclosed as additional items. Councillor Dirksen, do you want to go first?
Sure. Just wanted to make council aware that on Friday, May the 10th, all day, the Minto Fire Department is presenting Safe Kids Day at the arena in Palmerston, and that will be grade 3, 4, and 5 kids. There'll be several booths there talking to kids about safety, and the Wellington Farm Home Safety Association, of which I'm a member, will have a booth there teaching kids about farm safety.
Thank you, Councillor Dirksen. Anybody else? Councillor McKenzie?
A couple of things, if I may. You all know about that, what Ford's trying to do with the library interloan van system, and I think we should respond to our local MPP and AMO with a resolution. I don't know how the rest of council feels about that, but it's a very important service to our library members, handicapped people, and if we lose that, I don't know what they're going to do to get the book or the material they wanted, because the service will be canceled. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. It may have to come back to another meeting soon to get a resolution passed that we're not in support of. It's a negative deal, but
Yeah.
Anyway, that's one thing I had. The other thing is accessibility. When the county sends their minutes up here, they put in our agendas. I don't know that. They don't? Yeah, from Accessibility County. They don't send them here?
No, you do them online.
And we have, I noticed on our committee list that we have an ACC committee, but that's just I think Terry's appointed to, what's the purpose of that? Or Matt, yeah. What's the purpose of our Minto Accessibility Committee? What do we do?
I could.
Go ahead, Treasurer.
So we also, because we're like a business or employer, we have obligations under the Accessibility Act. So for customer service or employee accommodation, so we have to be properly trained and also offer the training to our volunteers and our community groups. So that's the part that Matt Lubers handles. So it's more internal to the corporation of the town.
Oh, great. Thank you. That question came up with our meeting the other day, because we're the only one, I think, in the county that has one.
Oh, is it interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think virtually all the staff, we use that HR download, so we prove that we have our certifications and all that.
Good. Thanks, Gord, for that one. Thank you.
So, Treasurer Duff, backing up to Councillor Mackenzie's first one, the Ford and the Interloan and the van, library van. Do we want to move ahead and have a look at that and see if there's something we can do and possibly gather a resolution for next meeting?
It's up to council. If you want us to do it, we can. We can send something to the county for that library or county thing, so we send something on. So
okay. Do we want to put it in the form of a motion and vote on it? So, Councillor Mackenzie, you want to make that a motion?
That's a good point. We could pass on our concerns to the county, and if they'd lobby for us to oppose that move by the province, would be great. So, can we do that next meeting? Bring a motion forth, or do it now?
Yep. So do you want to put it in the form of a motion? Do you want to move it?
I will move it. Yes.
Okay. Seconder, Councillor Elliott. So. We'll do exactly what you said, Chris. You understand what we want to do? If we pass the motion,
okay.
All in favor of this motion?
Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Against? Okay. Thank you. It's carried. So just a couple things that I wrote down here. Everybody's aware then that the Minto Legacy is this Saturday out here, and Chris is saying that everybody needs to be a part of it. We should be a part of it. It's a great initiative.
You're bringing coffee?
Yes,
so I'm going. No, I brought it last year, but I don't think I'm there. I'm at a Maitland Valley meeting at the lake on Saturday morning at 9.
You could order it.
I likely could. So why don't you get it, pay for it, and
I'll take care of coffee.
Thank you. So one of the other things is the gala, and I know we got a month to think about this, but it's May 25th, and the Harrison Heights is Friday, right? May 11th, Saturday. Pardon me.
Saturday. Yeah.
Saturday. What time, Belinda? Thank you. All day. So it's a good thing, and we as councillors should get out and support it, because we've been waiting on this for a little while. So, okay. Sorry, we can take a break. Take a 20-minute break. So we're in recess. Thank you. Oh, just 1 minute. Annaline's going to shut the video off.
Okay.